It's Heckin Tech Night!
Oh, did I just break something?
Heckin Tech Night.
The best spot where you get news. Yeah.
We don't know what type of news, but let me tell you, you get some type of news.
We are gonna get DMCA'd so hard for this.
Really hope not.
Welcome.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Welcome to Heckin Tech Night, where we bring you last week's news today. And I have with
Or was
me,
it yesterday?
It's the big question. You'll find out if you watch the entire stream 7 times.
It's like Linus Tech Tips, right? I mean, he's always getting accused of pre-recording his streams.
Here, give me a second.
And you know the best part about the intros to every single one of these Heckin Tech Nights is I have no idea what's going to happen beforehand. I have no idea what the intro is going to be until after it happens. So,
Oh yeah, like Nick, whenever these intros happen, he kind of has to be on his toes because like I never like tell him what I'm doing. I'm just like, hey Nick, just turn on stream audio, you'll get it. Just get ready. And also, I think I have like this old like cassette holder for like all of my oh Jesus, oh no, I have this cassette holder for all of my Sega Genesis games, right? And since I have it near the floor where my chair is, every single time I do something stupid like this, I end up denting the front of it because it's like plastic. So it is significant. It is significantly more broken now. But Heckin Tech Night.
yeah.
Also some stuff to catch up, everybody. Everybody who's on. We will not be having Heckin Tech Night next week because I won't be here. So unless Nick wants to do it by himself, which that isn't going to happen.
No, that's just not the way this works. I could do it, but I can't. I could do it on my channel, but it would literally just be a picture of my face screaming, "Hello, this is Heckin Tech Night. Bye," and that would be about it.
Also, some general updates until we get to the news. We have our Heckin Tech Night YouTube channel. We talked about it last week and how it is a thing now. And last week we unveiled the green screen challenge, where we take a clip from episode number 4, and there's a green screen, and then you kind of put whatever you want in there. And the rules and the download link for the whole thing is in the description for this video, and how to send it in. I was saying last week that there was a potential that, I might do it this week, but considering that, I didn't upload any of the videos from last week's stream about us going over this contest during the stream at all, like I promised to, we're going to postpone the looking at all the footage until next Heckin Tech Night. So congratulations, everybody. You have 2 more weeks. So please keep churning out the ideas. We already have some good ones from Nasina and Dr. You What and me. Nick said he was working on one.
I might do one. We'll see how it goes. If an idea pops into my head, I nothing's really come up that's been too... that wouldn't be completely obscure with everyone besides maybe you.
But yeah, I definitely gotta get back to uploading on this thing pretty consistently. But I love how the schedule for Heckin Tech Night has been working out. Like, we've been doing 2 weeks in a row, skip a week. We got a week, skip a week. We got another week, skip. This is actually the first time that we have done this straight up 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, it is.
Usually we've done it maybe 2 in a row, but we making history today, obviously.
Yes, we are, especially scheduled. I slightly talked about pushing it back a little bit because of the vacation, but
Yeah, but what
Well, not
else is
vacation,
anybody
but
gonna do on
holiday.
vacation? Have vacation? No, they're gonna watch Heckin Tech Night.
Exactly.
All right.
Oh, it gives me the option to ban you in chat.
It does, but like, believe me, Doctor What's already tried.
You cannot ban the broadcaster.
Damn.
You cannot time out the broadcaster. You cannot delete the broadcaster's messages. Big sad.
Big sad when the moderator can't mod.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. Tech
so
news.
we'll get into our tech news a long time into the stream because I just kind of let the song play at the beginning of the stream because I was just like, yeah, I like this song.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna listen to it again. Okay, so Nick, pick a story. Any story out of a hat.
Lithium sourcing in from US.
Okay, so breaking news. GM, automaker, is sourcing lithium from the US for electric cars. And apparently there's like this company out in Southern California that's like been doing a lot of, like lithium stuff. And GM was like, yo, we'll make like an exclusive partnership type thing. And we'll just kind of use your resources and be your biggest customer. So yeah. Apparently, this region of California contains one of the largest known sources of lithium brine, which is used for the lithium-ion batteries, and it's enough to potentially meet 40% of global demand from like one area. So, California, lithium capital of the U.S.
Yes, California has a lot of rare earth metals and rare earth elements inside of it. Mostly due to it just spontaneously coming out of the ocean forever ago. But
yeah, we gotta stop calling it Silicon Valley. We gotta make it Lithium Valley.
Yep.
Yeah, either
That's
that
gonna
or
be the
just
biggest
straight up,
producer.
either that or just straight up heat wave valley. Because like I swear they have a heat wave or like a wildfire every year. I feel bad.
I don't know,
down
like
there.
yes, Northern California and Washington, Oregon. Like Washington right now is absurd. Like, well,
Yeah, like
I guess
last
not
week
directly
they
right now.
had like their like a historic heat wave, and like I don't know about you, but like since when have you ever heard of like Seattle being 100 degrees?
It was
What?
like 110.
It was crazy.
It was insane.
Like what?
Yeah. Something decided to just go, oh, I'm just gonna change, and then it just, I mean, the jet stream did go like all the way up, like it went way up into Canada, right? Like way up into Canada.
It was just crazy hot.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't help that like, like every year, California and the Southwest United States are just under constant drought.
Mm-hmm.
But besides climate change and the death of the world, let's go back to our tech news story. So apparently, thanks to this investment, GM will have the first rights to lithium produced from this development, which is expected to yield significant amounts of usable material by 2024. So if all goes to plan, the automaker's partnership with CTR, which is the company that does the lithium stuff, would make it possible for GM to meet its ambitious electrification goals, which the automaker is wanting to eliminate tailpipe emissions from light-duty vehicles in the year 2035 and make its global operations carbon neutral by 2040. So, nice.
Wow.
Seems like we might actually have this stuff attainable, but oh, shoot. I just thought of another story that came up this week that deals with that.
The Canada one?
Yeah, the Canada one. I forgot to get a link for it. Give me a second.
Yep. So from what I remember reading, it was Canada is going to eliminate the sale of all okay, I'm not sure exactly how they worded it.
I got
but
it.
I'm pretty sure they said all internal combustion engines by 2035.
Okay, I brought up an article. Canada is
Okay.
actually to ban new gas engine car sales by 2035. So this is for brand new cars, ones that are like off the dealership. So used cars are still able to be in the market and used, but this is kind
Yeah.
of a way to phase it out. And the Canadian federal government has developed like interim targets for 2025, 2030, and 2035. Um, so basically, Canada is kind of hoping to kick automakers in the ass and be like, yo,
Get
do
going.
it. Do it now. If you weren't preparing, get your asses moving.
I'm really curious how they worded it though, because if they said internal combustion engines, does that mean biodiesel and things like that are not allowed either? Like things
Um,
that are generally economically sourced?
they're talking about passenger cars and light duty trucks. So maybe things like, diesel trucks and like other fuels like will still be there, but like they're
Yeah.
mainly phasing out like, consumer gasoline engines from what I'm reading.
Okay. Because I didn't read it fully in terms of the fuel types that they limited. All I heard was internal combustion engines, and it's like potentially hydrogen is going to be another type of internal combustion engine coming up. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure if they are. I mean, I can't. They can't really rule that out. That's completely economic.
Yeah,
So.
but they're really pushing for electric, and I think it's
Mhm.
really cool to see. What was I gonna see here? And as far as I know, don't quote me on this, but Canada is not the only one. Kind of pushing for, um, like the stop of internal combustion
Norway,
engines. I think Norway is one of them.
Sweden.
Maybe Denmark. Not sure though.
I know Norway and Sweden are. Um, New Zealand, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, well, we're just gonna stop naming countries before I don't have I don't have any sources for any of this, so I'm just taking random guesses at this point.
But the thing that kind of sucks though is that like Canada and a lot of these other companies are going not companies. Well, they're basically companies, but
Yeah,
Canada and all these other countries they're pushing for these guidelines, but not much is going to change unless the US takes action, and it's very saddening to see our very emissions and environmentally backward government not do anything. There are so many people who are in Congress and stuff right now who I don't know about you, but it seems like they really don't give two shits about the environment. And
oh
it's
no.
like, and the thing is what the U.S. needs to realize is that, like, they may not be the richest or biggest country in the world, but anymore. Even if they are, I don't know what it is, but like, no matter where the U.S.
US is
is,
still the
they
biggest.
they
It's way bigger than the other
okay,
countries still.
but still, like my point is no matter what kind of state the US is in, like, economically or anything or politically, is the US needs to realize how much of a precedent they set in the world. Like usually when the US does something, the world follows suit. Not to say that we're all important or anything, but like, we're not much is going to happen unless we take change here in our own country. And when you have a bunch of corporations like subsidizing a lot of politicians, like especially fossil fuel ones, in order to be like, yo, don't do anything or else we'll cut your campaign donations, like we're not going to get much done.
Yeah,
And speaking
yes,
of that,
absolutely right.
this maybe necessarily isn't tech, but I'm going to bring it up because this was something that really, really, really bothered me this week, like hard. Like
Okay.
literally, back in the 70s, if you're especially in the Midwest, you always hear about, you know, your grandpa, grandma talking to you about like, yo, I remember when I was a kid or something, and like the Cuyahoga River caught fire near Cleveland, right? And they talk about it like it's this thing that's so far off away that like, whoa, that happened, but we're better now. But like literally this week in the Gulf of Mexico, a pipeline burst and ignited in the ocean in the Gulf of Mexico. So the ocean was on fire. What the fuck?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is better that it's burning rather than having the methane escape.
Absolutely, but like the
still,
thing is that this shouldn't be a thing at all. Like literally,
no.
a lot of these people are like always pushing for like the individual to kind of like fix the environment and send and like being like, yo, you recycle, you transition to electric vehicles, you use less, you turn off your lights more. But yet you see all of these massive companies just going out here and literally milking the earth for profit with no obstacles and literally lighting the ocean on fire. Like, what?
I'm also kind of confused. I'm not trying to get political, but didn't Biden stop drilling in the Gulf of Mexico?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I thought I remember reading that, and
He might have been pushing for like the stop of fracking. Hopefully, I haven't looked much into his policy, but I hope fracking's not much of a thing down here. But like the fact that like something like this is like happening is just like, come on, man. The age of the dinosaur fuel is over. We need to like stop, please.
we need to figure it out. Yeah,
Like this is
we're gonna have
ridiculous.
other issues. Yeah, we're gonna have other issues with the electrical stuff, but we can figure that out when we get to it. So
yeah, and like the thing is like
that's kind of a backwards thinking with the carbon, though. So you gotta kind of it's a weird transition period right now.
it is, but
we're gonna have so much waste with the electrical side of things, but then you're also having all this environmental issues, and you have to figure out how to balance them, and it's a very hard transition.
I would
period.
argue priority number one is phase out fossil fuels. That is the number one priority. Even if it's like we got to figure out everything else afterwards, I feel like that's the thing we got to figure out now.
Yeah.
And like this is just showing like why this is like so important. Like if this isn't like a thing that gets like the normal person thinking like maybe we shouldn't use this anymore, then like I don't know, like this should be like the visual thing you see whenever you think of that. You know what I mean? Like the thing is most of the people that I talk to that I know, they care about the environment at least a little bit. It's just
absolutely.
all these old people in Congress who are getting subsidized by corporations who don't want to do anything about it. And, profit margins and, capitalism. But yeah, ocean was on fire. Why?
Yeah, it happens.
It was just so like, it was just kind of heartbreaking to see because like, not even that long ago, we had that BP oil spill in like the Gulf of Mexico. Like it wasn't even that long ago. It was 10 years ago.
Yeah, that was bad.
Like, come on.
That was really bad.
Nothing bad on like any of like the people who work in those oil fields because like I know they're just trying to get a job, but like
it's absolutely the corporations that are
like
not being regulated to the extent they need to be.
Yeah, when everything's
having these issues,
when everything is run on a profit margin, everything will be pushed to the side in order to increase profit. Unless there's some sort of regulation that makes it so there's like some sort of limitation so we actually give a shit about the environment. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, about that, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything else on this topic, but like we just kind of went from batteries to like heat waves to like the Gulf of Mexico being on fire.
This is the oil show after all.
Heckin' oil night. Too bad Sid Clarkson 37's at work.
Yeah, that's true.
He can't join for Heckin' oil night. But yeah, encourage everybody to care about the environment because I sure as hell do.
Yep. Do what you can. Do your part, and
don't be afraid to tell. Don't be afraid to tell the stick it to the man and be like, stop destroying my freaking planet. But yeah,
Hey, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna invest in the land in Montana. I'll wait until it warms up, and there we go. I have prime real estate. That's what I'm gonna do.
no joke. Okay.
Or you can go to Canada. It's not a bad idea.
Okay. Where? Give me a second. It's funny because I have all these stories that I brought up for the show, and I'm thinking about all the other stories I brought up this week, and none of the ones I linked to. So, like, let me search this up real quick.
Oh god.
Okay, so thinking about the different changes of subject here, I'm gonna get confused at Apple fans again. I accidentally hit the intermission button, but we're gonna talk about confusing Apple fans again because they continue to baffle me to this day. And let me know if you're afraid of this too. But you know, apparently, a sizable amount of Apple fans are really afraid of the number 13, like really afraid. So the point where they're like, there's so many surveys where they're like, yeah, it'll affect the sales of the iPhone 13. Like, what? It's just a phone.
Yeah, this is one of the most ridiculous things I've heard in a long time. That
Like, I've had...
there's actually a large amount of people that are Apple fans. Like, you'd have to pull up the percentage.
Or just people in general who are just like, the number 13's unlucky.
Yeah, it's unlucky, so therefore you can't have a number 13 phone? What?
Here, let me find the original article here. Yeah, this is the article that I saw, where it's just like, the iPhone 13 name is off-putting. I think iPhone 2021 is better. No! It doesn't matter. And then you got these other people who are trying to make it like another convoluted way where it's just like, yeah, I want it to be the iPhone 12s. Like, just make it the next number. It's not even that big of a deal.
I even have a better idea. Name it iPhone, and then rather than 2021, do 21. And then just do every single year, just whatever the year release date is. That would make it a lot easier, because then you would just automatically know what year the phone came out.
Yeah. Just wait until the iPhone 69 comes out. Dab. I love how Discord completely noise canceled out your clap.
Really? So it's just silence. Even better.
But yeah.
Good job, Discord.
So yeah, the survey was carried out by Cell, which is like a website, was like 1 in 5 iPhone and iPad users revealed that they would be put off by the iPhone 13 moniker.
1 in 5?
Like, what? Why?
What?
Like, what was it? Like, literally everybody, like, iOS 13 came out a few years ago. Nobody gave a crap about that.
That's probably because nobody knows about what version they're on.
Yeah, all they think is like, oh, it's another update. I don't want to update my phone.
Yeah. Oh, but look, I have a 13 as my phone number. It's just a number, but oh my gosh, it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna drop my phone. I'm gonna trip on the concrete, then hit my head on the ground.
Actually, oh, don't worry. Like, these are the same people who are worried they're gonna get lured down to a dark alley and have to install spyware. apparently, according to Apple's employees and CEOs,
well,
just like,
yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
watch the last couple episodes to know that one. It's
just be like,
there's some fun things there.
Just like down at like the other like end of the room, just be like, hey kid, you want to download some spyware?
You want some candy?
Along with some spyware.
All you gotta do to get some candy is go on your phone and go to the web, type in https www.spyware.ocmt.com
You're peeking
I don't
so
know if that's an
much.
actual. That's probably an actual website.
Just be like,
But
hey,
go to this
hey,
website.
hey,
Click on
kid.
download.
Hey, kid. You want to download from a third-party app store? Hey, you want to download from Epic Games? But anyway, apparently, in looking up, this is actually probably the newest news we've seen in a while. Like, an actual news story that's actually kind of recent. But apparently I looked up this like I tried to look up a web page to kind of like show the page where I saw the iPhone 13 name off-putting. And apparently, according to a lot of these articles here, including Mashable and Tom's Guide, apparently the iPhone 13 will actually be called iPhone 13. Hopefully,
Cool. We're not gonna give in to the crazy people.
but then again, it's Apple, so it could change by September.
Or
I
they're
hope.
gonna name it 13, and then they're gonna name it something else, but it's gonna be the same phone. They're gonna have two of the same phone. Who knows?
Honestly, I hope they keep it iPhone 13. I would love to, like, if I were to ever have an iPhone, I'd love to be like, yeah, I have the iPhone 13 mini.
I got the unlucky phone.
Yeah, watch it be like actually the best one.
It might be a good one. I mean, Apple has been having some really good phones lately, so
Speaking of
some of them are
Apple,
really expensive.
Nick has another story here that says internal Apple survey shows concern about hybrid work model. So what's this about, Nick?
Yes, let me pull it up. So essentially, what this is talking about is a lot of employees are actually not wanting to go back to work. Like they're
Like in the physical
saying, I think it
form?
was, yeah, they actually are saying that they don't want to go back to work. They don't want to see other people. They just want to stay at home and then just work from home. And
Yeah,
I mean, in terms of a company standpoint, um, it's actually kind of economical to do it. There's less resources you need to have in office,
less people you need
because
to
your
have in
employees are
office.
buying that sort of stuff. So there's is advantages to this, but also you're having less face-to-face interaction, so there's less productivity and things like that. So that's why Apple's pushing um, to have people come back, but then the employees are just saying that this. Let's see, out of 1,749 people that answered, 90% said they strongly agree with the statement. Location flexible working options are a very important issue to them.
Okay.
So they want to have flexible options. And in that, they took another poll of those people. They found that almost all of them responded with saying they want to stay home. They don't want to go into work.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of hope that a lot more people realize this because, like, there's a lot of jobs, especially office jobs, where it's not necessarily required that people go to the company building in order
Mm-hmm.
to, go and like do their work. And the COVID-19 pandemic actually kind of like really helped a lot of people see that, considering that a lot of people were able to transition to work from home, not easily, but like it was able to be done. And like a lot of jobs were like, if you tried to work from home even 3 years ago, you would have been looked at funny. And
Oh, absolutely.
the thing is like, if we kind of restructure the way that work works, especially in the US, with this kind of thought in mind, you know what I mean? I think it might be a good way to go in order to, like, save company resources and also save the environment, which was maybe if you were watching 8 minutes ago, was a pretty big theme about this show. But, like, I've seen, like, some videos where, like, how working from home could potentially change a lot of things. And like not only is it like attractive to the company theoretically, it's attractive to the users. And like, there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh yeah, I can't work from home. I can't focus at home. I need to actually go to a physical place, like to work," right?
That's me, for example.
That's me too. But like I think there was like I forget if there was a guy that I watched on YouTube. His name's Road Guy Rob, and they did like a video on like this kind of thing. And he brought up the idea of, instead of like, and like, if you think about it, ever since like the 50s and 60s, a lot of the population of America have moved from like, our dense cities in order to far out suburbs. And that kind of spread is growing farther and farther from city centers as we speak, which is making commutes longer, which is making car maintenance more frequent, and also which is increasing the consumption of gas by quite a bit, right? One idea that Road Guy Rob in the video, or like whoever I'm paraphrasing, I forget, but it was an idea that kind of stuck with me. In your suburb, what if there was just a general office building, right? Where like you may not be working necessarily with the people in your company, but like there will still be other people in the office that you can like socialize with and like work in a different area from home. You know what I mean? But you can do all of your company business in your particular office and the building that's in your town. Like, think about it. Like, you can kind of take your work from home idea and spread it to just make like, so you can have your office. You know what I mean? Like, and of course this isn't going to change for like, industrial jobs, or I'm talking more like white collar jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, for example, right now, I have I'm currently working what is known as a white collar job. And I work about 80% on the desk, 20% in the field.
Yeah.
I would say is about what it would end up being. And currently I'll give you an example of what my company is doing, and because they have put this out and I can't specify it exactly due to company limitations. But for example, what they're doing is once a week you'll have to come in because you have to see your supervisor. They have to do mental checks on you and things like that, because part of my job is very sensitive to information.
Yeah, of course.
I have to sign contracts. There's all sorts of things that I have to be very careful about what I say. And so what my company is doing is they're making sure that you come in during that 1 week, supervisor has a one-on-one conversation with you, making sure you're okay. There's nothing, you're not having any mental trouble, you're not having any physical troubles that could be affecting your work, anything like that. And it's something that they're giving you the option of staying at home for most of the year. You only have to come in 1/5 of the year of your normal work time.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're still coming in, you're still interacting with your boss, you're still interacting with your coworkers on that day. So there's still connections to the people. It's not you're physically separating yourself during a long period of time, and you could potentially develop malicious intents by being away from work for so long.
Yeah, and also it keeps your mental health in check too. Like, sometimes for like working from home, like, maybe it isn't a good fit for you. So if you're checking in with your supervisor every week, you can kind of get it figured out. Maybe you can be on the field a bit more, you know what I mean? I'm sure like most people would be willing to work with you, you know what I mean? And it's just like the thing is like, for other white collar jobs and like, of course, like things like food service, blue collar jobs, like, of course, you're not going to be able to do that from home. We're not saying that.
Yeah.
But like the thing is like especially for a lot of people who do like office type jobs, I feel like what the pandemic has kind of shown us and like moving to work from home type things is that, we could definitely transition into a more working on more remote locations type bases, and literally like it's a win-win-win for everybody. The company gets to send less resources, like they get to use less resources by providing space at their own location for you, right?
Yep.
You get to drive less. You only get to have to go to the main location once a week, and it's a win for the environment because you get to use your car less, which is also cheaper on you because it's less maintenance. Like, I feel like this sort of way of like doing kind of these jobs would be a great way to move. Honestly.
A good example of this is we're actually encouraging people. One of the projects I'm working on right now at work is getting people out of a certain building and working from home from that building, and then shutting down the heating, shutting down the AC, shutting down the lights inside of that actual building. And we're going to be saving a lot of money by just not using that building.
Which in turn is good for the environment because you're using less energy.
But it's a good example though is that's actually also company driven because you're saving money.
Yeah.
So if you show companies that there's ways of saving money while also helping the environment, that's a huge win-win for everyone at that point.
And this is another reason that makes the Gulf of Mexico being on fire so freaking it makes it so frustrating because companies know that there are ways to make your profit margins still large, it's let me rephrase what I'm saying. There are still ways to keep your profit margins high without killing the environment. They just don't want to change. And that's the most frustrating part.
Yeah. Innovation takes people that are willing to take risks. And a lot of companies, when they're big, just don't want to take those risks.
Yeah, no joke. But yeah, I think a more working from home or working from a local office type situation is definitely a way that definitely a lot of white collar type places should take a look into us. And I like how a lot of Apple employees are thinking yo.
I do want to comment on that working from a central office though. Like for example, my company would not allow that.
Of course. And I'm just talking general office work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're working...
Of course, you couldn't do that because if you're working at a job that's more confidential, then of course you gotta work from home or at the place.
Yeah, I have multiple layer for security encryptions and keys I gotta put in because I do work from home every now and then. When I'm like, hey, I want to have a 3-day weekend, I'll work from home and then I'll work on my computer from time I wake up for 8 hours straight, and then when I'm done, I head out and I have 6 hours of the day left because I don't have to drive. So yeah, saves me an hour.
Definitely. It's just of course, again, this is not a solution for all jobs. It is just a solution for some jobs that will definitely make a positive influence, which also, if you think of it, another thing that's good for local economies. You're keeping more people in the town, which means you can open more food service type things, it'll generally just help the economy of the suburbs that have these places. Because, where is everybody going to go on their lunch break? You know what I mean? Open a coffee shop down the street. It might be palatable now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really find it interesting that a lot of these Apple employees are yeah, we liked working from home. We think it's better. And even though I criticize Apple quite a bit and I don't like their leadership and I don't like their fan base, a lot of their employees seem to really get it going.
Yeah, especially their engineers. Their engineers are very, very good at what they do.
Of course. All right. So apparently, according to Dr. Yuwat in the chat, the Five Nights at Freddy's first game, the phone call, apparently the lyrics or the words of the transcription of it is on Genius, which is a website that is used for music lyrics. What?
What?
Okay. Sorry.
That's a strange one.
Just thought that was worth mentioning. All right.
That is a strange one.
We talked about GM. We talked about... I just deleted a link to a thing we were going to talk about. Let me click it again. Okay. So... big news, you ready? So apparently, back before the big news, it seems that Dr. Yuwat in the Discord chat has given proof, and here it is. This is the website Genius, and it's just all on here. Why?
That is kind of strange.
This is not gonna lie. This is not a song.
You try to sing it.
Hello. All right. Okay, so let's talk about
our karaoke night. one of these times.
You just got to karaoke the entire phone calls from the first Five Nights at Freddy's games.
Yep.
You got free salad off the top of your head.
What are we doing next? We have
All
about.
right, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about
Oh,
our
wow.
favorite subject on Heckin Tech Night, especially. We talk a lot about corporations being bad. We talk about environmentalism, but we also talk about our fair share of billionaires we don't like, and we're going to be talking about Jeff Bezos. Apparently, today he has officially stepped down as the Amazon CEO, and my comment is, I don't care.
It's not going to really change anything. I mean, he was the founder of it, but I don't think he really had his hands in anything, to be honest.
Now he just gets to like, you know, be
Well, I mean,
rich.
he probably still has all of his shares, so he's probably
Of
still going to
course.
make boatloads of money. But
Now he just gets to be rich without, you know, being attached to the Amazon company anymore, so he's away from scrutiny.
yeah, exactly. He just lets
Again,
everyone else make decisions, and he just sits back and watch it grow.
No joke.
The easiest way to make money, just have a lot of stocks.
Yeah, definitely. Let me see if I can find the article here. And this is why it is very important that... Where is it? Let me take a look at this real quick. But yeah, I don't really care about Jeff Bezos. I don't care.
Cool.
Um,
He's a person and he has a lot of money.
Sadly.
That's about it.
And that is why... where is it? I want to look it up. And that is why we continue to push the narrative that we brought up in the 5th episode of putting Jeff Bezos in space and making him stay there. We don't care. Please stay in space. We don't need you. We know you're not going to
give all the
your
money to
to
small businesses. There we go. That would solve a lot of issues, to be honest.
Just donate it to people who need it more than you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't like being. I don't like.
How many homeless is there in the U.S.?
Quite a bit, but like
quick.
honestly, I feel like he has enough wealth to put a decent freaking dent in it, at least for a little bit.
Okay. Let's see. This many. He's worth how much? Like one something billion?
His net worth is 198 billion, according to Bing.
198 billion?
Yes. Which, Jesus.
198 billion. That's thousand. That's million. Billion. Divided by the number of homeless. 5, 6, 7.
Oh, you're
7,
right, Doctor. You want $1 trillion isn't enough. You can't give any away. You just gotta keep pushing those stockholders, man.
He could give all the people homeless, like every single homeless person in the U.S., $350,000.
Yeah. And these are the people who are officially declared homeless under like tax statements and stuff. Like not even like counting like the people who are like, you know, homeless and not saying anything about it. Like literally this man could easily make every homeless person not homeless. And that's why I am a big proponent of billionaires not being a thing. I don't think they should be. Because like
make it forever. When they get to $1 billion, just make it so where everything they make over that amount is like 90% taxed.
Yeah, no joke.
I think that would work.
Like honestly, there is nothing that is worth that much except for like countries and their own budgets that like literally you can use that money for. You literally are like, you're literally a capitalist god at that point. Like you have nothing to do with all that money. You can't even spend all that much.
I mean, he is using it to go to space, but like...
But that's pretty much the rich person endgame. It's kind of like the thing you got to do now.
That's kind of becoming the new thing, isn't it? Like, if you're a billionaire, you gotta go to space.
Yeah, no joke. We got to see who can
Wait, why is
own.
Putin not going to space? Putin's the richest person on Earth right now.
But you gotta.
Hmm.
But you gotta. Now we gotta see who's gonna buy up Mars first.
I mean, you can't legally buy Mars, but you
But
could just shoot
literally-
everyone that comes there.
You could literally be like, "I'm sorry, I own Mars." Jeff Bezos is the imposter on the spaceship. Okay, yeah, Jeff Bezos bad. We don't like him. Now to another billionaire, Elon Musk again. Nick, what would you like to say about this one?
What's this?
Starlink's next generation user terminal.
Oh,
will
this
cost
is
a lot
really,
less.
really cool.
Is this something
So,
that's
you know
actually gonna...
Starlink, yeah, this is actually really, really cool.
Okay.
So Starlink, it's had a very heavy initial investment cost of, I believe it was $500 for $500 for the terminal, right? That was the initial investment cost. And wait,
Oh no.
okay, so yeah, the initial cost is $500 to buy it, but manufacturing the terminal cost over $1,000.
Okay. So for the people
so-
who don't know in chat, what is Starlink?
Okay. Starlink is a satellite internet provided by SpaceX that Elon Musk has developed and is throwing up thousands and thousands and thousands of satellites up into low Earth orbit. And then they're not geostationary, which makes them much faster on latency and internet speeds, because geostationary satellites are much further away to rotate at the same speed that the Earth rotates.
Mhm.
These are non-geostationary low Earth satellites that travel across the sky at very high speeds, and they interconnect with each other and produce this giant internet network that is beamed down to these satellites. Our terminals, I guess is what they call them. They're terminal/satellite dishes, which are actually really, really cool, by the way.
Yeah,
The way
yeah.
that they work. If you ever look up how they work on YouTube, they are phenomenal. That's the reason why they cost so much, is because of that. They're
Mhm.
marvels of engineering for $1,000, let's say.
Yeah.
But he's talking about actually reducing the cost down to $300 or $250, and then it's only $100 a month for basically anywhere internet service. So it's actually something that is going to hopefully start moving people onto it, because
It is really
I'm
nice.
really liking this.
but 99 a month is still pretty steep for a lot of people.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
and the thing is,
I mean,
like, even
this is not meant for people that are
I would like
in
this
the
as
city. This
I
is
would-
meant for people that are in remote areas.
I would like this for, like, a higher tier option that's like, for everybody, you know what I mean? And like one thing that I find really interesting is that, like, I hope that, like, we kind of, as governments and, like, and other people, get more technologically literate. It would be very nice to see more internet access for more people, but it is kind of sad
At
seeing
least
that.
options.
Yeah, at the
Just
very
more
least.
options in general, because we're in the U.S. we're forced into single options, maybe
Well,
two
not
if
e-
you live in a city.
Not even that. Like, the thing is that, like, many and many people, especially disproportionately people who live in lower income communities, are still stuck with really shitty internet. Like, there's a good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what the statistic is, but I think I read somewhere that, like, a good, like, third of Americans are, like, still not on broadband, and broadband came out in, like, the early 2000s. Like, there
Yeah.
is a
lot
like,
of those are suburb cities, so like small little
And-
tiny cities
and
out
also,
in the middle
like,
of nowhere.
lower income areas and big cities. You know what I mean? Like,
Those are slowly getting filled out, but still it's not there yet.
yeah, and like the thing is like, what a lot of these companies are doing is that they're not expanding out to these areas because they're quote unquote risky investments. Because, like, since they're poor areas, though, they might not be able to pay you back as easily as someone who's rich. You know what I mean? So why install it there? You know what I mean?
And that's partially the good thing that came around with COVID is the government and workers, companies, universities, they're subsidizing that cost.
Well, not only that,
So
it
that is
shined a really
something that's
bright
coming around.
it shined a really bright light on how terrible internet access is for a lot of people, especially
Oh
when
yeah.
it is becoming such a necessity in the technological world. And like I again, like I definitely feel like, more internet access is a good thing, and this might be good for like a higher tier option, but like along with this, we need to focus on lower income options that are actually up to spec, that'll actually let people use the internet, because to be honest, you can't do anything nowadays without it.
Oh yeah. There's pretty much very little now. Um,
But yeah,
yeah, because
any
you need a phone, you need something in order to communicate with your employer, you need all sorts of stuff.
mhm,
So it's pretty much a necessity, like you said. Um, you could get away with it in certain areas, and to be honest, I wish I didn't have to have a phone. I didn't have to be connected to the internet. I'd be perfectly fine playing single player games and stuff like that. We
mhm.
found working out in the barn, but oh well,
But sadly, it has become
internet.
such a necessity that, like, it needs to be something that's regulated as a need rather than like a want. You know what I mean? Like, it is something that people need for jobs, that people need for,
Yep,
just everything now. And the pandemic really shined a huge light on that.
it did.
But yeah, anything else on Starlink?
Nope, that's it.
All right, sweet. And another thing that I've read, it was like an article on CNET about, like, like how bad like the internet access is for a lot of people, especially in, like, lower income neighborhoods. There are a lot of people who, instead of like investing more in like a higher speed internet plan, which would be out of their reach, what they do is they use their unlimited plans with like cell phone carriers and hotspot everything to their computers. And which is then that's
Yeah,
usually fine for the first like 20 some gigabytes, but once you go past that area, a lot of cell carriers, or pretty much all cell carriers virtually, they limit your speed down to 4G speeds, so you're back at square zero.
yeah.
Like you're back at the slow speeds that you were trying to avoid. So like it leaves a lot of these people who don't have a lot of money with no choice.
Plus, I mean, unlimited plans with the hotspot capability. I mean, you're talking,
That's a lot of
depending on
money to
what
begin
carrier it
with
is, you're up to, yeah, $50+ a month.
per
I
person.
mean, it's a
Like,
lot.
what if you got to carry a family
Yeah,
with
per
that?
person.
If you got to carry a
It's a
family's
lot.
cell phone plan, like that's a significant portion of many people's paychecks.
Oh, absolutely. That's
So
huge.
yeah, but besides that,
I mean,
let's see.
we never used to have unlimited for the longest time. It just cost too much. But then after COVID, or companies pretty much forced us into it.
Yeah, of course. I keep clicking away the links to our story, so give me a second. Okay, so we have another reoccurring theme on Heckin Tech Night today. We're talking about another ransomware attack, everybody. Everybody clap your hands. It's a ransomware attack. We can't hear it,
Woo!
Nick. But
Everyone cheer.
up to 1,500 businesses are affected by this ransomware attack this time around, and it's even got the government concerned now. Let's go. So apparently, a ransomware attack has been centered on the U.S. information technology firm. I think it's Kaseya. I have no clue. Um,
I
and
Oh, Kaseya. That's how
Kaseya.
you pronounce
Okay.
that.
Yeah, so this company has been targeted, and this is a company that provides software tools to IT outsourcing shops, and
I have actually used this software in
they
my IT experience.
they handle back office work for companies that are too small or modestly resourced to have their own tech departments. So yeah, this is pretty big, and it's
Yeah,
affecting
that's real
more
big.
than a
I know a
thousand
lot of
businesses.
companies that use this.
So yeah, and they demanded $70 million in ransom money.
Wow. So, with my experience of Kaseya, um, what it what I used it as was a remote uh what's the right word to use? Access point to where I could remote into your computer and I could diagnose your computer either from the desktop or through CMD virtually command prompt. I could pull in all sorts of information. I could download and install programs. I could run scripts.
Yeah,
And that's what I have experience using this in. So this being an attack like this in terms of ransomware, if it would have been malware or anything like that, it actually would have been very easy for those companies to get into there. Okay, they're in. They could get out into all these different companies, just deposit little tiny pieces of malware, and it'd be impossible for it to ever be detected. Because I mean, you're just connected to all of it. So I really
yeah,
hope that didn't happen, but it would be no way to be able to trace it because that's through an admin remote console. So scary things could happen with that company
yeah.
potentially getting hacked.
And it's really spooky too. But like, thankfully, like as of right now, it's not like impacting like what the CEO of this company was saying. Like, we're not looking at like massive critical infrastructure. Like, at least it's not like we're not running AT&T's network or Verizon's 911 system. Like nothing like that. But like, still, it's really bad. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
the
rough.
CEO is basically still kind of saying like, we wouldn't have come public with this unless it's safe now. But like, it's just still kind of like freaky to be like, oh yeah, the company and the software that like is used with everything. Yeah, ransom. We control it now.
Yeah, that's not used with everything. It's mostly used with smaller companies, like you said.
Yeah,
But
of
still, I
course, but
mean,
like it's just so
um,
far reaching.
a good example of a company that I know I had to use this on was a title company that managed the districts for all of Lucas County.
Yeah.
So they managed all of the title and zoning districts inside of a program, and then that Kaseya program would have had access to all of that information. So
Yeah.
that's kind of scary to think about.
And like, it's just kind of like not a lot of and like we were talking about like office workers and all that stuff. Like, not everybody, but like I'd say a significant chunk of people are not like, super well versed on like, cybersecurity. So like they develop like bad habits of using like, really easy passwords because they have to enter it in all the time, or like, keeping tabs saved, keeping passwords and like emails saved on browsers. Like there definitely is like a culture of a lot of people of like, who don't really do cybersecurity. So like a lot of their information is very vulnerable and just kind of out there. And like, I kind of hope this wakes up more people to be like, yeah, I'm going to keep my password a little bit more safe, but like sadly I don't think that's going to happen. Like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that
Um,
people are stupid or anything. It's just like, not many people are really keeping good track of their passwords. I know I don't.
mhm. So, like when I worked that IT job, my Kaseya password that had to be at least 20 characters long.
Hmm.
And then my current job that I'm working, we have to do actually cybersecurity training every single month that I work there.
Yeah,
Every single month we have to take a training.
especially since you got to be confidential about everything.
Yeah. So you're just making sure there's no emails that you could potentially click on and or potentially work your way up into a higher position. It's like, sure, would be bad if I had some of my information be like exposed or
But like
leaked or
if the
something like
company that you
that.
work
But
for gets like exposed, then that's bad. You know.
yeah, when you start going up the chain, it's like, oh, my manager, I emailed this to my, or I forwarded this to my manager, and then he ended up having the issue. It's like, ooh,
Yeah,
that
like once
starts
it
getting
goes
really
up the
bad.
chain of command, then it gets worse and worse.
Yeah.
All right.
Especially people with a C letter in front of their name, they are really, really bad at like clicking links on emails. They just for some reason automatically click on them. So that's why a lot of times they'll actually have like their assistant like go through all of their emails and then tell them what they need and show them
Yeah,
what they need to.
no joke.
So
All right.
it's kind of funny.
On to the next story. And this is another one for Nick here. Qualcomm plans to design an M1 competitor for PCs, and apparently they're doing this with a lot of employees that helped with the Apple M1 chips.
Yeah, that's from what I've
From what
read.
I've heard.
And yeah, I mean this is just a little it's not too old, it's 3 days old now. But something that came up and it's kind of cool to show that hey, we're actually gonna start getting PC competitors for something like M1. Because the
Yeah,
M1 is
definitely.
something that's very high performance for what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
Snapdragon doesn't even come close to it, and it's the same type of
And
design.
Snapdragon
So
is still pretty powerful for what it is, so that really puts into perspective how powerful M1 really is.
exactly. So if Qualcomm can come out with something that's really starting to get up there in performance, I mean, it would be cool because that would start putting Chromebooks in a better light, probably too, because that
Yeah.
this could potentially be used in Chromebooks,
Hmm.
and that would give Chromebooks more performance. And
And
that's one thing a lot of people really don't like about Chromebooks. So
yeah. And another thing is that, like,
yeah.
in order to do this, apparently, Qualcomm earlier this year they purchased the startup Nuvia for 1.4 billion, which was founded by former Apple employees who worked on the Apple Silicon transition in the lead up to the launch of the M1. So this is where the title of the stream saying Qualcomm stole from Apple. This is what it is. Clickbait title, everybody. Gotta
Yeah.
get them clicks.
So stealing the engineers.
It's really
Dirty
funny though,
tactics, but they work.
because these people left from Apple in 2019 to to compete with Intel and AMD in desktop or laptop markets, and then Apple sued them immediately. They were like, "Yo, you took proprietary Apple technology."
Okay then.
Okay, Apple. All right, and then we got another story for Nick here. Let me bring it up real quick. Okay, so we've had for the past few years now a lot of companies bringing out OLED TVs and screens, and now we are starting to see mini LED. First in the iPad Pro, not first, but most notably as of late, and now LG is about to release its first mini LED TVs.
Yeah.
So
So
that's
there's gonna be
pretty
a bunch
cool.
of different ones that are coming out. There's gonna be 4K and even one 8K variant. It's gonna be
Hmm.
coming. Sizes are 65, 75, and 86 inches. Wow. Um, that's a big TV.
Now,
Um,
from what I've been reading, this is not a replacement for OLED. It's just something that's another
no,
technology that can get you close to the performance of OLED. So like
it's
the
essentially a weird cross between OLED and LCD because you get like the nice like contrast of what
yeah,
OLED
because you get
have,
like a ton of dimming zones
but
and all that.
yeah, but you're not getting the same blacks. You're also not having the burn-in issue also because you're not having to worry about the organic
Yes,
part of the LED.
and like that's
So there
that's
is advantages and there is little
and
disadvantages.
that's why I feel like mini LED is good too because I mean, it's in the name OLED. The O is organic. So you have to use organic material in order to make OLEDs. And if you can make one that's almost just as good without having to use organic material, it's going to be a lot cheaper to produce later in the future. So I think it's a good move.
I swear I just saw it, but maybe I
What's up?
glanced over the wrong thing. I thought I saw 120 hertz refresh rate.
Oh, Control F time. Control F. Okay,
Where did I
120.
read it?
Oh, right there. Each of these TVs
Oh,
that are
there it
coming
is.
out by LG, it has two HDMI 2.1 ports, which allows for 4K 120 hertz. It supports
Wow.
HDR10, HLG, and Dolby Vision HDR standards, and Dolby Atmos for audio. And they run a version of WebOS. So nice.
There you go.
New
These could
TVs.
potentially be very good gaming TVs.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since consoles are finally making it to having 120 hertz modes like the PS5.
Yep. Don't have to worry about burn-in, so you can leave your all your fancy UIs up and leave them up there for 10 hours straight without any burn-in issues.
Yeah,
So
so when all of us
all the
become
gamers are
old,
gonna celebrate.
so when all of us become old, like, in 50 years, and we have all our mini LED TVs, we're not going to be like our grandpas who had the ESPN logo burned into the corner of the screen after having it on for 20 years.
Yep. You have an OLED, you can leave it on ESPN, and you look down there every single time you turn it on.
Like, it's
Just see
funny. I remember,
ESPN overlaid over ABC.
yeah, I just love, like, I used to, when I went to Sears as a kid, and they were still like selling like CRTs. I just found
Mhm.
it funny seeing like the store models that they had there and seeing like, like CNN or like Fox News like burned into the corner of the screen. It was just
Yeah,
really
or if they
funny.
would leave them on for so long because they wouldn't shut them off at night. It would leave them on, and then you would go in there like after the whole week they were on. The motion blurring would be so
Oh
bad that
yeah.
when you had something move across the screen, it was like
Yeah, and it makes you wonder like why would they even leave them on in the first place? It's like those are supposed to be the models where you're like, oh yeah, look at this. You could buy this. Like, why would anybody want to buy a burnt-in screen? Especially
uh,
people who don't understand how burn-in works. Like, they're gonna see like, why is this picture still on the screen? I'm not buying this.
yeah. Why is ESPN just stuck in the middle of the screen?
Yeah, I don't pay that much for that. If I want to watch ESPN, I'll do it on my own. So here's another interesting story that actually came out today by fellow audiophile writer Critical, who runs the story In Ear Fidelity, and he did a pretty in-depth look on why most ratings suck, and he did an analysis into many audio review websites and found that a lot of these websites rate the average of their products that they review in the 4 to 5 star range. Like literally, What Hi-Fi, the majority is in 4 stars. In Sound Guys, their average is like in
There is no
between.
variation in their
Look at this.
There
The
is no
average
variation.
the average is between 6.5 and like 8.5. What? And like
Why?
Headphonics, their average is like 8.3. Average is 4 for headphone style or something like that. Major Hi-Fi, same thing where the average is a B, which is like an 80 to 90%.
Wow.
Like what? And like if you think about it, like I feel like a lot of people like get like ratings kind of like weird in their head when they're thinking like of like school, like especially the American school system where like, anything below is a 60% is an F. You know what I mean? But if
Yeah.
you look truly numerically from 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, your average is 5. I'm
Oh
on
yeah.
I'm on like some music review sites, you know what I mean? And like, where I get to put in my ratings for albums and stuff. And for me, a 5 is a straight up average. Everything above a 5, like a 6, is an album that I at least on some level like. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And like because of the way that grades work in other scenarios like school, it's like everybody considers like, oh, it's like a 7.8 out of 10. Man, it's just below average. It could be a little bit better. And it's just like, bruh.
Yeah.
Game review sites are are guilty of this. Like pretty much any
Absolutely.
like music review sites are, movie review sites, everything is guilty of this.
And for audio equipment, I can kind of understand the less variation because a lot of audio equipment's based off of other things going on in the system, right? So um you have your DAC, you have your amp, you have the headphones, you have your listening environment, you have the type of music you listen to, your source and for how you listen to it. Are you listening it through vinyl? Are you going through different types of DACs like I said before? How are you doing it? Are you streaming it? Are you using FLAC? All that has slight differences in how the sound's presented. And I mean, for example, I'm wearing these right here, these T50 RPs. Horrible headphone stock. Do not buy them stock. Just don't. Um, I
I
would give
didn't
them a
like them.
solid. I would give them a solid zero point 0.5 out of 5. Right,
Damn.
that's probably what I would do if a stop. Right now, I've modded them. I've put special filters. I've added special ear pads, headband, nice leather headband. By the way, look how like nice and thick these pads are. Like,
Oh, jeez.
got some nice thick leather pads to them. But so after all of that, I put in a lot of work, and this has been how long have I had these? It's been like 4 or 5 months now, right? At
Yeah.
least.
Yeah.
And I'm finally beginning to get to the point of, oh, I'm starting to like these a lot now.
Yeah. Like,
I'm
but like,
finally getting to that point.
but
And
the
then it's like
main,
I went from like 0.5 to 4 now. So I can understand some people arguing, hey, at the beginning, I really like kind of bassy headphones. I like the V shape, so I'm gonna give. If you like that sound signature, it's a 4. But now some people, I warmed them up a little bit, so some people might listen to it and go, oh, well, that's now a 3 out of 4. So their rating went down to where before it would have been a 4 out of 5. So
yeah.
there's a lot of opinion like that, but why
But
don't they just give their opinion rather
well,
than saying, oh, some people could like this? Just say
if you
what they
have,
think.
and like another motivation for a lot of people who do reviews are like, a lot of reviews are based off of the actual companies giving them the products, right? If they make continuously subpar products, and you keep rating them like a 4 out of 10, then they're going to want to stop sending you the product because you're not giving them good word. You know what I mean? But the
So
reviews,
crappy
the
product. Don't have. Maybe they'll fix it.
I know, but reviews aren't like, and review sites, especially big ones, aren't necessarily built on full 100% integrity. They're built on,
Oh
at
yeah,
least generating clicks or like generating some sort of profit because at the end of the day, it's still a business. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So like, if they make everybody's numbers at least look good logistically, you know what I mean, and skew the meaning of a 7 out of a 10 like really hard,
Mhm.
so be it. But like the
Yeah,
thing
because when I
is
look out a 7 out of 10, it's sort of like, oh, that should be pretty good.
for me a 7 out of
That's what
10 is
I'm
really good
expecting. Yeah, I'm
personally.
expecting it to be a good product. That's what I'm
Mhm.
expecting. But if everything's rated a 7 out of 10, then no idea where to go from there.
But like Critical at the end of this article makes a pretty like fitting point at the end of this article here where he goes over all these websites, right? And all of these considerably like have the average at around an 8 out of 10 and almost nothing is rated lower than a 6 out of 10. And like there are some websites where like 20% of the things that they've yeah, you're getting ahead of me, Doctor. You kind of get where I'm going with this, but like he quotes the movie The Incredibles by Pixar, where the villain here, which I forgot his name, he says, "And when everyone's super, no one will be." So if everyone is a really good headphone, then no one is. Nothing is special. If you make everything feel like it's special, like if everything's a 4 out of 5 or higher, then like what that means nothing, you know?
And that's why I really like going to review sites that actually don't give a number out of a number. I really like going in there and they go to the review, they go, okay, this is what this sounds like. This is what this sounds like. I like comparing, I'm going to compare it to this headphone because it's similar or it's different than this type of sound. And then
Either
they
that or
compare
review
that stuff and then
you
you can have something to reference and it kind of gives you an idea of what you're thinking or what it is.
Yeah, either that or reviewers were like, yo, if you like this kind of thing, then maybe it'll be up your alley. You know what I mean? Giving
Exactly.
like a lot of reviewers kind of push this very homogenized point where like, these products are the best ones and these are the ones for everybody. Case in point, tech YouTubers with the iPhone and Samsung Galaxy, but that's another conversation for the next time I come back when I talk about the Sony Xperia 3 1 Mark III and everybody making me very disappointed when it comes to tech YouTube. But that's coming next Heckin Tech Night. Mark my words.
It's gonna be
But
video Heckin Tech Night next week.
no
and,
joke.
2 weeks.
We're gonna have a special about why I feel like tech YouTube freaking sucks, because man, it sucks.
There's some bad ones. Yeah.
And don't worry,
well.
fans of the channel will know. There will definitely be me ranting about Marquez Brownlee in there, because it always happens. But I am sad to end Heckin Tech Night on a very disappointing note at the end of the stream.
Blue screen.
Yes. That's what we're talking about. So when your computer crashes in Windows, if you're a Windows user, you get the blue screen of death. But in Windows 11, and I'm very sad to say this, they're changing the blue screen of death to the black screen of death. Why? Why change
is the QR code blue?
Why?
The blue QR code of death. Oh no.
Why? There's no point. They're literally just changing it for the sake of change.
Maybe
and
it's a preliminary thing.
I don't like change.
Make it red. That would scare a lot of people.
The red screen of death.
The red
No,
screen of death.
just be like Mac in the 90s and just bring up a little bomb icon.
Oh yes, there we go. Bring it up. Boom.
And that makes me sad because, like, look at it. Look how lame this is. That's lame.
Yeah, that is disappointing.
Why? And they even made the blue screen of death lame when they changed it to the stupid frowny face in Windows 8.
Yeah. I miss
Like,
the old Windows XP,
I liked it
Windows
with,
Vista.
I like the old
You're
dead.
dead.
I really like the old blue screens of death where it was just a bunch of random like OS like jargon that like normal people didn't understand. So they're like, "Oh God, why does my computer have a bunch of random code on it? I'm gonna die."
Yeah, I remember when I first got some blue screens when I just had a little PC. It was like, I haven't experimented with computers much at that point. I was playing around with it, doing a bunch of random code line stuff. Somehow ended up like getting into my file system through command prompt and ended up deleting a .dll file.
Oh jeez.
It just blue screened and it had the big blue screen going across. I'm like, oh, I broke the computer. And I just rebuilt it. But afterwards, my dad did that. But shortly after, that's when I began figuring out how to build computers. So worked out okay.
And it just goes to show, when you're learning something, the best way to learn it is to break it first. And it's actually true.
Don't do it with microwaves.
Or cars, because you might get hurt.
Don't go on the highway. Then you'll be okay.
And that's the end of tonight's episode of Heckin Tech Night. We'll be back on July 19th. We're taking next week off. On that week, we'll have the special on why I don't like tech YouTube. And hopefully it might be a little bit longer of an episode if I can get, starting a little bit earlier. But thanks for coming on the show. Nick is showing things on his calculator on his phone. And thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week. Remember to submit for your green screen challenge for the Heckin Tech Night Green Screen Challenge. And we'll go over those the next episode of Heckin Tech Night on July 19th. And Nick, please bully me to get those clips online before I go on vacation. So yeah.
Won't do.
You gotcha. See you guys next time.
Bye.